This is a case of mistaken identity. It occurred in Heaton Park, Manchester, in June 2012. It had already been an amazing week. I had spent most of it in a lurid pink t-shirt in the middle of Soho Square with a radio mic interviewing celebrities, which, all things considered, was a fairly brave look for a heterosexual male acting as an interviewer and host for the launch of the Soho Stories app. This particular Friday saw my excitement enhanced by the heady prospect of going to Manchester to see the Stone Roses and their return to the crucible of their imaginings. Yes, perhaps the most anticipated gig of the year was tonight, and I was going to be there. My friends had all departed north on the earlier train, and I was set to blast up the motorway in my bad boy Chrysler to catch their triumphant return. A mate of mine, who was friends with Ian Brown, the Stone Roses' diminutive yet giant-like iconic frontman, had arranged for me to be in the VIP enclosure for this megalithic homecoming. Come hell or high water, I was gonna be there. But it was Friday night, and the traffic was hideous. No amount of prayer, meditation, acceleration was gonna get me there early. But hey, that's rock and roll. So I just kept on as best I could, and by the time I did arrive, there were 75,000 fans packed onto the sloping parkland, all hyped up and ready to rock. I was there. Brilliant. But a couple of forays into the melee left me in no doubt that I was no way going to get to the royal enclosure. The atmosphere and sense of anticipation weighed heavy upon the crowd. A good-natured bunch, all of an age like myself, harking back, to the heady days prior to the cataclysmic implosion that saw the end of the band and the end of our dream. This was their tribe, the faithful, come to pay homage. The waiting years were over. Perhaps we were all reliving our own golden years, tasting once again the sweet texture of irresponsible youth before that awkward gap twixt school and retirement left us busy with jobs and mortgages and pension planning. For now, the familiar odours of cheap beer and weed rolled like a blanket over the crowd and cocooned us from the realities outside. This was the moment. The Messiah returned, where suddenly everything was possible and the world was ours for the taking. As the first strains of John Squire's guitar called us to prayer, we flocked to the Mecca of our dreams. In an instant, we were all stoned again. They did not disappoint. I didn't care that I was alone on a hill amongst 75,000 strangers, that my friends were frantically texting me to join them. I was already home, lost in the ruddy glow of nostalgia that swept over all. About 3 songs in, I noticed a woman standing, staring at me. I guessed at 6'4", I stood out amongst my shorter, sturdier northern brethren. I noticed and politely ignored, but she kept hovering, finding more excuses for throwing out a smile. Hey, who knows? Maybe I won't go home alone tonight. By track 6, she'd plucked up enough courage to make a direct approach. "It is, isn't it? It is!" was her opening gambit. I smiled politely and returned to my rapture. "It's you, ain't it? You off telly!" I neither admitted nor denied. Taking my silence as confirmation, she dragged another friend over and said, "It's him! It's James May off telly!" Ah, I thought. She thinks I'm the Top Gear guy. Classic. I smiled mysteriously, but then had a parade of no less than about 20 of her friends all coming up one after the other, causing quite a stir, snapping photos. I basked in the music and in my temporary identity and was utterly convinced that they were convinced, as they were, and I was appearing all over Facebook. Me and James May. The Northwest rocked to pictures of me, the Stone Roses, and James May in equal measure. One of her less drunk girlfriends tried to break up the party with a much more reasoned, He's not James May. If it were James May, he'd be in VIP. I just smiled and produced from my pocket the now defunct VIP paraphernalia. You mean I'd have one of these? I said. And the first girl, in a paroxysm of joy, cried, It is! I told you it is! Oh, come on, rock me, baby! And she basked in her newfound status as celebrity spotter and friend. After a while, a guy did sidle up and said, You're not really him, are you? No, I said. But don't tell her now. She's having such a great time. Tell her in the morning. As for the gig, it unfolded into a mystical accolade to the dreams of yesterday. For all present, celebrity or otherwise, it just didn't matter who you were. We were all just a small part of something greater than ourselves, each of us richer for the memory.